Hi there again, this is Mus from MK Survival doing a review on the Kabar USN Mark 1 Navy knife. Gonna jump straight into it to try and save some time. Right, first of all the sheath. Leather sheath. When I first got this sheath, I must admit to you that I was looking for the Kydex sheath. I was trying to order that online and I had so much difficulties with that, being in the UK, that I just stuck to this sheath in the end, and it kind of grew on me. As you can see, it's stitched firmly in place. It's quite thick. It's definitely going to take some wear and tear, this guy here. Very solid sheath, and I actually do dig it now. It's even got a drainage hole. Don't know if you can see that, but that last hole here, a lashing point, has also got a slight drainage hole here to drain the water out of it. So big belt loop here. Yes, it can, once it's riding on your side, it can, if you're sort of jogging or running somewhere, it can start to flutter, but obviously you've got a lashing point. You can stop that if you wish. I don't. At the end of the day, I'm not running at all with this knife. I'm always walking around. So I'll give a thumbs up to the sheath. Obviously we can see it's got a clip here to secure the knife in place. Nice solid snap on, which most people prefer to the Velcro, shall I say. So to me that's a big plus. And yeah, all in all, it's not going to retain in the sheath. If you put the knife in and you turn it around, it's not going to retain. You do need that clip on, and it's not going nowhere after that. It doesn't matter how hard you try, it retains really well. So enough about the sheath. Let's get on with the knife now. Right, now first of all, this K-bar here is obviously, it's not your normal standard size K-bar, which is the full length one. It is a shorter one than that. It is what they issued to the Navy in World War II times, I think. And obviously this is the reproduction of that knife. And as you can notice here, I've gone for the leather stack handles. One reason I did that was I thought it looked better aesthetically. Another thing is I've got a few knives with sort of Kraton and G10 handles and so forth, and I wanted some sort of variation, and I think that the leather stack handles are really comfortable in hand. It's quite sort of rounded off, quite large for large size hands. So when I grip that, and I've got large size hands, and you can see the pommel comes out to the end of the knife, and it's comfortable for me. Usually with sort of smaller handles, like I show you here with the SOG, everybody digs this, the finger grooves and everything in the SOG, but to me it's just too small a handle. Like, there's so much room in here that when I'm doing certain tasks, it would have to ride up or down, and with this here, it stays in one place no matter what task I'm doing. There's no riding up and down in my hand. It's like it was built for my hand. I prefer it to finger grooves. As I say, quite long fingers as well, so you know, the grooves don't really do much for me on a thin handle, but this is just perfect for me. Obviously your hands are going to vary and your opinions are going to change to mine, but for me it's perfect for large size hands. I do like the pommel at the end. I haven't sort of bashed that about at all since I've owned it. I've never needed to, but I find it really useful in when you're sort of clearing out branches and so forth, to have that there. It hasn't got a hole here for some paracord or anything like that, but it makes up for it with the pommel, because even when you're clearing branches and you ride the knife up in your hand, to do some chopping or something, it's not going anywhere because of that pummel. It really does protrude out, so you can actually hold it like it's sort of, you've got a paracord on your little finger or around your wrist or something. It's not going anywhere. So I really do like that pummel, and obviously if you're using it for self-defense purposes, it is good for a non-lethal blow. You can also, once you change it to the upside down position, it's very comfortable. It just feels solid in the hand. It is a full Tang knife. It goes right down to the end, you can see. Although I'm not sure how thick the metal is in there. From what I think, it actually does thin down the metal into a thin stripe, a thin streak of metal to the end here. That's only what I'm thinking at the time. It is held in, as you can see, by this pin here, so it's not going anywhere. It is solid. I've seen a review where this knife has been used in quite sort of hefty batoning, and the knife did slightly bend downwards, but only very slightly, which makes me believe that the metal in here may be not as thick as you'd like it to be. So for batoning, I would only do very light batoning with this knife. Obviously a size of this knife anyway is not supposed to do any batoning, we all know that, but at times light batoning is okay. I always do. So it handles that very well, and I've batoned with this a few times. You can tell by the use on top of the knife here, where it's coloured away. Another thing I want to say, the knife is 7.2 ounces, and obviously the whole blade is 9 3/16 of an inch long from pommel to tip. The blade, I think it's about 5 1/8 of an inch long, the blade here. It is got a powdered metal, as you can see here. Being 1095 Crovan steel, it's very useful to have that sort of coating on there, because it sort of becomes rust resistant. And to be honest with you, I haven't had any rusting problems with the edge of this knife, neither, the cutting edge. And some of my other 1095 carbon steels, that I do maintain my knives well, but even maintaining them well, you do see this coloration here, and you'd have to sharpen them out. This one I have never had a problem with at all. Knife is made in New York, as you can see. It's stamped on the blade here, and obviously on the other side it's USN MK1 knife. Another thing I want to say to you, the finger guard. I love the finger guard on this knife. It doesn't need to be out here. That does its job. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't slipping through that if you had to do a thrust attack for self-defense. Also, there's no guard on the top, which is very comfortable when you want to ride up with the knife. And also in this position, because of this pommel here, when you ride up with the knife, you can really push that pommel into the back of your hand and get more leverage power than you do on a normal blade. So I really do dig that pommel. And on the Rockwall scale, it's between 56 and 58 Rockwall hardness, which is perfect. It's going to stay sharp longer than normal, and also very easy to sharpen. I've had no problems with sharpening this knife at all. You don't need to be a great sharpener. I have great skill, shall I say, to sharpen this knife. I'm not one with great skill in sharpening, but I'll get the job done adequately enough. Another thing, it is a clip point, as you can see. For self-defense, it is primarily a fighting knife, although that's not what it's used for with me. I kind of just like my survival knives. I like them to do a bit of bushcraft as well. Definitely a good bushcrafter. with its flat ground here. Also the thickness of the blade here. It's not the thickest of blades, it's not the thinnest of blades. I think it's 0.165 millimeters or something of the sort thickness here. But as you can see, the knife starts to thin out here from this point onwards. But it isn't actually thinning out, because where it's flat ground, you've got this false edge here. That's not sharp. I don't like sharpening these because I do baton with them every now and again. This point I'm trying to make here, I don't know if the camera can pick it up. It actually starts to thin out here, but it's still thick just under that point here. Almost as thick as that. So I'd say it's thick right down to here. So it's not going to compromise on any strength near the tip of the blade at all. I would have preferred it to be a drop point, but it's adequate thick enough to be able to trust this knife in a survival situation. So for me, I think that just about covers it all with the Ka-Bar Mark 1 knife. Hope you enjoyed. So I'll be signing out, and be sure to watch part 2 and part 3 of the Ka-Bar Mark 1 USN Navy knife. Hope you enjoyed.